Hey guys, it's Renee from Revv Evolution and welcome back to another episode right here on Revv Evolution's Motoring. And if you're wondering what is that beautiful looking SUV behind me, well, it's the all new luxury SUV from Kia. It's the Kia EV9 GT Line. Yes folks, before we dive into the review and to tell you more about the interior, the technical specs and so on and so forth, a little bit of information about the all-new Kia EV9 GT Line. It was introduced at the Singapore Motor Show just a couple of months recently, and right now being one of the very few luxury SUVs, electric SUVs, we want to find out more about what this electric SUV has to offer. Right folks, now let's talk about creature comforts for those in the backseat or in the second or third row. One of the cool features of the Kia EV9 is the fact that it has swivel seats. That's right, swivel seats, which is really good in the sense that you can actually have conversations with your other passengers in the backseat. Okay, but that being said, when I've actually swiveled it all the way facing the other passenger, I don't really have much leg room. So it's really ideal for smaller size adults, not like for bigger guys like me. Okay, and if you don't want to have the swivel seats in your EV9, you also you have an option to actually have the relaxation seats, which is something similar to the driver's seat, which has electronic functions which allows you to recline and have a rest if you're doing those really long journeys up north. And also in the back seat, we have the moonroof, which allows your sun to shine in. If you want to have more sun, you can actually shut it off. Right folks, now let's talk about boot space in the Kia EV9. First of all, it has an electric tailgate, which I think most vehicles have nowadays. In terms of boot space, the Kia EV9 comes with 333 liters of boot space, is what you see here, but it also has the option of folding all the seats down. It gives you a total of 2,393 liters, and also some seat configurations, which we'll be showing you in just a bit. And another really useful feature of the Kia EV9 is the fact that it has an AC power point, which means that if you have your speakers or maybe a fan that you want to bring along for your trips, you can actually plug it to the car and it draws power from this AC point. Right folks, it's now that time of the video which we call the in-car review. That's right, that's where we give you more information about the technical specs and things that you as a driver want to know more about. And if you just joined us and you're wondering, hey, what car is this? Okay, this is the all-new Kia EV9 GT Line model, which is a luxury SUV from Kia. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit more information about, in terms of pricing and then move on to things like the features and also last but not least, the safety aspects of the car. And you as a driver, things that you basically as a driver or as a motorist want to know more about, especially when it comes to an EV. First of all, let's talk about pricing. And if say it happened to be in Singapore, how much is it going to cost you to get this car on the road? Well, in Singapore, it costs $289,999. That's excluding COE. All right, so COE is basically the certificate of entitlement. Once again, in terms of road tax, it's about $3,000+. But when you buy this car in Singapore, there's a couple of rebates which the government is giving. It's because this is based under a VES banding, because it's an electric vehicle. You get $25,000 off the car, and also an additional $15,000 with an EEAI rebate. Okay, so it's about $40,000, which you'll be getting when you buy this car. Okay, so with price out of the way, now let's talk about the next important thing. Now, being an EV, how long does it take to charge the car, and how far can it go? Well, if you look at putting it on an AC charger or a fast charger, there's various stations all around Singapore. To get this boy charged, it's gonna take you about 14 minutes. And the whole idea that this car can actually charge within that speed is because of an ultra fast 800-volt charging system Kia has built into the car, which means that you get really rapid charging in the car. And if you're talking about DC charging or slow charging, it's going to take you about 8.7 hours, and I think usually you'll do this in the comfort of your home. All right, now let's talk about another two important numbers, which is how much is a power SUV going to give you. The car has 380 ponies, 700 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot of pull. All right, meters, and it goes to 0 to 100, if I'm not mistaken, 2.9 seconds, 2.6 seconds, which is very fast for a car of this size. All right, so now that we have all the numbers out of the way, last but not least, it's available in 8 different colors. All right, so lots of choices for you to choose from. Wait, let's talk about features and handling. So as the driver behind the wheel, you want to know all that technical specs, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible. First of all, this car comes with dual motors, as you know as well, that certain cars and EVs in Singapore and in the world basically have a single or dual motor, and this one has dual motors with all-wheel drive capability. Well, with all-wheel drive capability, you can just imagine that amount of traction that you get, stability that you get on the road. All-wheel drive really affords you that. And on top of that, Kia has done a really great job with this EV9 by creating a low center of gravity of the car, by actually positioning the battery in such a way lowers the car or gives it a better center of gravity with better aerodynamics, which means that with all that with the all-wheel drive, it really gives you a very stable drive even at very high speeds. Basically, this model comes with drive modes. As you're familiar with drive modes, a lot of cars have it. Well, this one has drive modes as well. You have your Eco, Normal, Sports, and also My Drive, which is basically a customizable option that you can do. And with the different options that you choose from your drive modes, the car actually handles differently. As the name suggests, Eco, which means economical. So it actually, what it does, all the electronics in the car actually allows you to actually save energy as you're driving the car. You know, things like with your ACs and everything else, so then you have a better battery consumption when you drive the car. But when you put it in sports mode, okay, everything changes. The steering gets a bit stiffer, and also the seats will actually move to actually grip your back, because you know, in sports mode there's a whole lot more power. And really, folks, you wouldn't believe the amount of torque that you get out of the car. Okay, if you don't believe me, let me quickly switch this into sports mode. Alright, okay, and okay, right now I'm in sports mode, and I'm just gonna give you an idea about the kind of pull that I'm gonna receive once I actually accelerate the car. Okay, so here goes. Wow, that's all I can say, man. Wow. Okay, you can imagine 700 Newton meters of torque, so that's really a lot of pulling power. So this car really packs a punch when you the power when you need it. Okay, so it's really amazing, and I had passengers sitting in the car, they were really just blown away with the amount of torque that this car actually affords you. And on top of that, the Kia EV9 also comes with a different mode, which is called terrain mode, which is not really relevant for us here in Singapore because we only have one terrain, which is the tarmac. All right, but if you're driving it overseas, well, you have a choice of between snow, mud, and sand. And once again, remember, with all-wheel drive, handling all those situations is really a breeze with this car. Okay, the other thing that the EV9 has is this thing called smart regeneration technology, or maybe you're more familiar with it when I call it brake regeneration. So what it does is actually when you release the accelerator, you get this real pullback of the car. And that basically kind of feeds back some energy to the battery. But in some cars, what happens is that whole pulling back is quite aggressive, so you might not really get used to it, but and you don't have a choice. But with the EV9, you actually have a choice of choosing between medium or strong. So when I personally drive it, I like to leave it at its minimum level, so that way, I just hate the experience of the car actually kind of jarring back. And also the other thing that this car has is this thing called brake mode, where you can choose between a normal or sports. And I think that's more relevant when you're in sports mode, to give you a choice of what kind of braking that you need. Right, so that is basically some of the features which I think you as a driver might want to know about. But last but not least, I also missed out. We have this really nice display in front of me, 12.3 inch by the way, which affords you all the information that you need. And personally for me, I think only two information that I need most responding is how much of charge I have left, and of course how far more can I go. Okay, so now let's talk about some safety aspects of the EV9, and there's 20 over safety aspects, and I'm not gonna go through all of it. It's gonna take me forever to do that. I'm just gonna touch on information which, once again, I feel is really more relevant for you as a driver. Okay, first of all, blind spot collision avoidance assistance. Okay, and that to sum it up basically is really useful. I feel that when you're doing parallel parking, when you're coming out from a car park lot, right, and then you can't really see your blind spot. Just to give you an example, a pedestrian dashes across or a car just decides to come off. What happens is the car actually uses its autonomous braking to actually stop before an accident happens. So that's really one of the main uses of it. Also, there's also blind spot view monitor, which once again is quite common in a lot of cars. You can actually see whenever a car comes in your blind spot, alerts you and you know that's a car in your blind spot. And the other thing that I love about this car is the fact that when you indicate whether you're turning left or right, or you're turning left or right, we have a monitor that comes on the screen in front of you to show you the corner that you're taking, and also to give you an idea about whether anybody's in your blind spot. So, which that's really one of the features which I really love about this car. And there's also things like lane follow assist. What happens is, say you get too close to a car, in front of you, and also the fact that you do a bit of daydreaming and you kind of get out of the lane, the car actually gently nudges you back into your lane, avoids you from hitting the car in front of you. Okay, other technologies that the EV9 has is the side, forward and reverse parking assist. And I think with the 360 view camera that this car has, it's really all about safety when you're driving the EV. It allows you to actually park safely. Okay, the other technologies that is in the EV9 is basically the forward collision advance assist 2, which includes things like your auto evasive steering assist, things like junction crossing and junction turning. Okay, so this is information that I can't really show you about, but I just wanted to kind of highlight because I thought it's quite important for you to know. One thing that this car has, which I don't really like, is the digital mirrors, the side mirrors. Okay, because I feel that I just lose that whole depth of field about knowing what's at the side of me. Also, the rear view mirror, you actually have a choice of having it as a normal mirror, or when you flip it, it goes digital. So these are all some of the digital technology that's inside the EV9 as well. So like I said, it takes me a while to get used to this mirrors as well. Well, I think I've covered as much as I can, but to summarize basically everything that we talked about for the EV9 is the fact that when it comes to comfort and safety, I think the EV9 ticks a lot of the boxes. So if you're looking for a luxury SUV in the market, and an EV especially, that's pretty hard to get, I think the Kia is going to be one of the choices that you might want to check out. All right, and now on to my summary and conclusion. Well, folks, to wrap up our drive review with all new Kia EV9 GT Line, well, you basically heard all my comments and what I thought about the car with its drive capabilities, handling, and you've also seen videos on the interior and exterior. So it boils down to, do you really want to spend this kind of money on a luxury SUV? And for me personally, I think with all the technology that Kia has put into this vehicle and also the comfort, if you're comparing it with the other models out there, I think it really is a value for money SUV. We want to say a big Revv Evolution thank you to our friends over at the Civil Service Club here at Changi for allowing us to shoot at this really beautiful location. So if you're planning to have some holiday fun, well, you can always check out the Civil Service Club. We also want to say a big thank you to our friends at Kia for allowing us to have the Kia EV9 GT line for our review. To find out more about Revv Evolution, whether it's about our cars or our lifestyle, do remember to check out all our social media platforms. And don't forget to drop us comments about what you think about the Kia EV9 GT line.